George and John talking about, and Yoko. This is at George's home in Surrey. We had a kirtan. I'm surprised the roof stayed on the house. Billy Preston was there playing the organ, and there was a wonderful kirtan that day. Back at Tiddenhurst Park. Our Trivikram Maharaj. Hayagriva, Yoko Ono. Janaki showing John how to play the kartals. This picture is in the book here. They rented a whole tent for us in Plumpton. And so we had a press conference and to inaugurate our album, our recordings. This photo's in another book that recently came out about George Harrison.
That's it.
Okay, now we shall go to India.
I wish that yellow spot. Can we get rid of that yellow spot, or is it on the screen? That yellow. Is that on the screen, or is that on the in the film? That yellow color. I think it's in the computer. That yellow color. No way to get rid of it. It's not on the screen because it moves when the
About every time I've done the slideshow,
better to leave well enough alone, I guess.
Involved. Something would break down. Even today, with the advanced computer, there'd be people going in portable.
It might be on the glass. Is it? Never mind.
We'll just have to bear with the yellow. It's all right. Well, while we're waiting for the slides, let's all do some Hari Bols and do some stretching. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol!
Ah, the yellows.
This is Radhanath Maharaj's trick to get everybody to stretch in the middle of long talks.
Oh, we got rid of the yellow, it looks like.
Okay. Do I do there? Here? Airport Delhi? Thank you.
Contrast.
This is Hansraj Gupta.
Very good.
Thank you. He is the mayor of Delhi. This is the son of Mr. Joshi, an old friend of Prabhupada's. Hansraj Gupta gave Prabhupada a fan for his room in Radha Damodar. He was constantly our friend throughout the time Prabhupada was in India.
What year was this? 71 or something?
Yeah, 71, 72. Now, Prabhupada asked me to go to Vrindavan to get a palace from the Maharaj of Bharatpur, who turned out to be ugly, somewhat mad and crazy. The story's in the book. It didn't happen. But then, Prabhupada we were given some land in Ramanreti, where the Krishna Balaram temple is. And Samashunda and Prabhupada were coming to the airport. It's a different airport, but we were meeting at the airport. And I'm thinking, this is the highest transcendental pleasure on Earth planet, that I'm going to Vrindavan with my spiritual master. And so we went in the ambassador car. And Samashunda and I hadn't seen each other for a while, and we were whispering like school children in the back seat, "How are you?" Prabhupada was in the front seat. I'm thinking Prabhupada's going to do some great shlok about Vrindavan, Chintamani Prakad, whatever, the touchstone of Vrindavan, the peacocks. I'm waiting for the shlok. Finally, Prabhupada clears his voice and says, "Cement. We need cement to make this water filter, this water tower." Prabhupada was always very practical as well.
In those days, it was hard to get cement, remember?
Yeah, because they were using it for the cinema theaters. I would go to the cement minister and say, "You want to use it for the cinema theater when we're building a temple?" And then he'd start crying and give us the cement. "Okay, you can have the cement."
Cement minister.
Yeah. We had the chance to stay with Prabhupada overnight in his rooms. Remember that? You were there?
Yeah. Well, there's some
Radha Damodar Temple.
Can you get the contrast a little better on that? It's awfully bright. Yeah, there. Good.
This is Prajumna Panditji.
Oh, this is a great sequence here.
Subal. So now you see Prabhupada is talking to Gaurachand Goswami. I don't know if I should tell that story.
Yeah, go ahead, tell the story.
Gaurachand Goswami, Prabhupada asked me one day, "What do you think of Gaurachand Goswami?" I said, "I think he's a rascal, but he loves you." Because they would fall out of bed 5 minutes before the Mangal Arati, which started late. And he couldn't see very well. He smoked beedis. He wouldn't speak to his neighbor, Madan Mohan Goswami. He rented some rooms to Prabhupada, and there was some contention about the rooms. I had to get them legally, finally, for life. So Prabhupada asked me, "What do you think of Gaurachand Goswami?" And I said that, and he said, "Gaurachand has invited us to Prasadam." So, you were there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, Gaurachand made all of Prabhupada's favorite dishes: stuffed portal, shukta, mustard oil, all Bengali style. When Prabhupada liked eating prasadam, he would put his hand down, one hand down, and he would really eat. He'd be concentrating on eating. I was next to Prabhupada. Suddenly, half a stuffed portal would go on my plate. Prabhupada had eaten it and throw it on my plate. "Maha, maha." Something else thrown on my plate that Prabhupada had bitten. "Ah, maha, maha." I'm in bliss too. I'm eating like that, one hand down like Prabhupada. Gaurachand, being a family member, didn't stand on tradition, and he started eating with us. He didn't wait till after we ate. He finished early. Samashinda was there, Dr. Kapoor was there. They were also eating like Prabhupada, one hand down, eating. So then Gaurachand, as is a habit for people who smoke, right after they eat, they have to have a beedi. So he couldn't see very well, so he went behind the door while we were eating to have his beedi. The only thing was, he wasn't behind the door, he was in front of the door. And he was like this, sneaking beedi, and all the smoke was billowing. So I saw this, his body language, it was obvious that he was sneaking. So Prabhupada was eating, so I just said, Prabhupada, because it was so funny, he was sneaking the beedi. So Prabhupada sees him, and Prabhupada could not hold the laughing. He laughed, so then I couldn't hold the laughing. And then Samashinda couldn't hold the laughing, and Dr. Kapoor laughed a lot all the time anyway. So we were all laughing, and Gaurachand realized that they're seeing me, and so then he pretended to be a great devotee. He went, "Go Winda, go Paul," like that.
I think in this sequence of pictures, he's negotiating the rent. This looks like a rental negotiation.
Right. And then look at the next series.
He wins the argument and gives him a mango.
So that's Prabhupada. Rishu Kumar, he and I had to stay behind to get the Akash Ganga during the Kumbh Mela. And so we did that. Then we got the Akash Ganga, and with our Mr. Chabria was going to see all the devotees in Prayag. So I asked Mr. Chabria to give a note to Prabhupada. Can I come too now to Kumbh Mela? And Prabhupada said, yes, come immediately.
I think this is Juhu Beach, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe so.
Can you get the contrast better?
You know Kartikeya Mahadevia? He once said to Prabhupada, I am not afraid of death, but I am afraid for my family. So Prabhupada said, then you do not understand not being afraid of death.
This looks like Juhu Beach. Yeah? That's too dark. There's Sudama Vipra.
As I said, Prabhupada was so regulated that he would go on the parikrama and meet this man every day at 6:03 in the morning. Jai. Madan Mohan.
I think this was in 1972, the Radhakrishna, when he spoke on the Isopanishad, the Brahma Samhita, right? Nectar of Devotion.
Yeah, Rupa Goswami Samadhi.
That's this period. There's Hayagriva.
Yeah, Chutananda.
And Achyutananda.
Tatpur. What's his name now? Tatpur is now a Swami? Tatpur Maharaj. Sutakirti, Hayagriva, Professor Howard Wheeler, Prabhupada with Professor Howard Wheeler. This is Barsana.
Yeah.
This is Satchidananda, Sunil Satchidananda. He's in Calgary now. Naranarayan.
Guru Kripa, look
Guru
how
Kripa.
skinny he is.
Saraswati again.
I think Vishaka took some of these.
Well, obviously I didn't.
Yeah.
Prabhupada gave me so much association, he even let me stand next to him walking. I usually didn't have to do that because I had so much association. But he still allowed me. So one morning, you've probably heard this story, but he said, "How do you know Krishna's God?" So I said, "Because you told us, Swamiji." He said, "They will say I am an old man." Somebody else said, "Because the Bhagavad Gita says so." Prabhupada said, "They will just say it's a book." No one knew. Prabhupada said, "You know Krishna's God because of the ecstasy you feel when you're serving him. The proof of the pudding's in the eating. You feel this ecstasy." So 3 years later in Philadelphia, Prabhupada stops and he says, "How do you know Krishna's God?" Oh, I know this. Somebody says, "Because you said so, Swamiji." He said, "They will say I am an old man." Nobody knew. I said, "You know because of the ecstasy you feel when you serve Krishna. The proof of the pudding's in the eating." Prabhupada said, "No, you know Krishna's God because the Bhagavad Gita says so." And there is no contradiction in transcendental life. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is Rupa Goswami Samadhi. I think Vishaka might have taken these. Or Yadapara. That's a nice photograph.
Initiation.
Look at all the japa beads there to be initiated. Also, Yashodanandan had sannyasi initiation there. There, Yashodanandan Maharaj, sannyasi initiation. Samashinda there again. Prabhupada liked to do various programs at people's houses. Even if we would say, well, this person just wants us to come, and we went there and not so many people came and this and that, and Prabhupada still would go. He liked to preach. So at one program, people were bringing Diksha, different gifts for Prabhupada. And Prabhupada turned to me, I was here, and he said, just see how they're treating saintly people. He didn't even say me, he said saintly people. So then he said that it is said that if someone is not spiritually powerful, that when they touch your feet, you will take on their karma. You've heard this? That when someone touches your feet, you take on their karma, and if you're not spiritually powerful, you'll take that karma on. You've heard that? Prabhupada then joked. He said, that's why I pat them on the head. I give it back.
Forgot that guy's name. Oh, God. That's amazing. Jeez.
So we were in Mayapur. Even though Prabhupada gave me so much association, it was like in San Francisco, I would find any excuse to be near Prabhupada. Prabhupada was my study. Prabhupada is the modern application of Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada is the representation of Krishna on this planet for me. How this is all applied. So even though he gave me so much association, I would chant in front of his room early in the morning. At first Prabhupada would say, Kaun? Who's there? Somebody would say, oh, it's Gurudas. Prabhupada would say, oh, come on in. We would be talking very quietly early in the morning. He'd be translating. So then I was there again in front of his room, chanting loudly so he could hear. Not soft, but loud, so like a little child wanting attention. Prabhupada, instead of saying Kaun, he said, Gurudas, come on. Then he walked out of his room and he looked over the balcony and he said, the farmers, they are asking Krishna to give them water. He said, the farmers say, give me water, give me water. And Krishna says, all right, take it. And Prabhupada's hands went down like that, take it. And when his hands went down, the skies opened up and the water came down. Just as he did that, all right, take it. Ansaduda. This is at the Kumbh Mela, first one.
1972.
Himavadi, Hanuman.
Madhavisa too, huh?
Madhavisa Maharaj, yes. Dinanath. Dinanath.
Giriraj.
Giriraj Maharaj. Prabhupada wanted us to feed lots of people at the Kumbh Mela. Feed the quarter, he said.
And he wanted to show off his Western devotees. So we built a big pandal right in the center. And we were the star attraction for the Kumbh Mela in 1972. It was Prabhupada's dancing white elephants.
Right.
We would go through the streets chanting like this with all Western devotees. And the people of India were just amazed. They couldn't imagine such a thing.
Actually, this is Calcutta, not a Krishna Balaram temple. There was a pukur, a bathing ghat, across the street. So mosquitoes would come in. This was Prabhupada's room. So one day I went into his room. Of course, I was wanting to be near Prabhupada again. No one was there. Prabhupada was sitting on the ground. He said, "I have fooled them." I said, "Who, Prabhupada?" He said, "The mosquitoes. I am sitting on the ground and they rise naturally." He always wanted us to study nature. So I, being who I am, would ask Prabhupada sometimes unusual questions. So I said, "Are there mosquitoes in Krishna Loka?" So Prabhupada said, "Yes, but they don't bite, they sing." This is again Calcutta. That's Kausalya. Yeah.
Contrast.
This is early Vrindavan. This is the adobe huts that we lived at. Anand Prabhu was cooking. Just a few people there while we were building the temple. Giving class. This is Mr. Gupta. He did a lot of service, and just recently I met his son in Pune. He invented an eye drop that became famous, but he did a lot of service, Mr. Gupta, and his wife too. Anand Prabhu was the best cook, and the Gaudiya Math always wanted him to come on special days and cook. He was because you let your beard grow in Vrindavan and then you shave it, he would look very young after shaving. And he'd look very old when he let his hair grow. But he could walk on his hands with his legs this way. He was very strong and a great cook. One day Prabhupada called Anand in and said, "Anand, Prabhu, how much do we spend on each person?" Anand didn't know, but I knew. I said 5.5 rupees. So Prabhupada said, "Can you make it for 4.5?" And Anand said, "Yes." But Anand was the cook. He wasn't a manager. So I said, "Excuse me, Prabhupada." And I went out to Anand, "Can we really make it at 4? And Anand said, no, but I was afraid to tell Prabhupada that. So I go back in and I said, "Anand says that we can't quite do it for that price." Prabhupada started to delineate everything. He said, each person eats 1/4 kilo of rice. He just went through everything. I saw his account book. When he was alone, he would do that. And he would do it like that. He'd say, "And 1/4 kilo of rice costs 5 annas." I said, "Prabhupada, those were 1942 prices." But we did it anyway. There's Anand.
I remember him.
Surat, they really welcomed us amazingly. The whole town came out and put big banners in the streets.
I think these are okay.
There were so many garlands that we had to, they covered over our head. And we had to give garlands out. There's a wonderful, wonderful welcoming there in Surat. Tamal and I were in Vrindavan, and we joined the party after they were there for a few days. And we saw how wonderful. Look at what they constructed for Prabhupada and the devotees. This is how wonderful this land of Bharat is. How just moments' notice you can build something like this to glorify Krishna and have a procession in the street. So that is the end of our slideshow.